Greetings and welcome to the Soul Logistic Radio Show podcast. I'm your host, Doug Evans, the unknown icon. Few people call me Hannibal Smith. Got the Minister of Information, the straw that stirs the drink, Fat Tommy, and we have a special guest. My bucket list is
Very special.
almost done. We have Miss Maureen Yancey Dukes. Hello, how you doing today?
Hello, all. I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be on your show today.
We're honored to have
Wonderful.
you, man.
We honored to have you.
Yes. Oh my God,
One
it's a
one
true
thing,
blessing to
one
have
thing,
a queen such as yourself on here, Mon Dukes.
Oh, wow.
right.
Thank you. And you know what? I'm just so happy to be in a space with like minds, meeting of the minds. When you get with the meeting of the minds, it's all good. You are communicating with somebody that understands the truth that must be done, what's needed to be done, and is on a mission to see it's done. And that's what I'm talking about. Not sitting looking, but being on the
Right, right.
making
What
it
what
happen.
what is, what is it about hip hop that you embrace hip hop? I just watch you embrace hip hop so much. What is it about hip hop that you embrace?
You know what? It has turned to hip hop. Okay, but I've embraced music and life and just human emotion and love all my life. Starting out rough for me as a youth in Detroit, but what gave me my security blanket to continue to hopefully, you know, feel that I had something to offer in this world. It was music, and yeah, I embraced the music that I had. Fell in love with the messages that came from the music. Like you look at a piece of art with that some people don't have a third eye, but they know that this art has meaning, and the colors touch their soul.
Mm,
So much to be learned, by that, and just creative people bring gifts to the world that we all are being blessed with. But we have to be able to recognize it. If you don't
right.
pay attention, you'll sleep on it. I mean, I've helped youth. Mr. Yancey and I'm a former husband who's passed on, Dilla's dad. We spent a lot
R.I.P.
of
to that
time
brother.
helping young people. And some of the people, even we recorded, one young man, his mom didn't even know that he could sing. But
So,
just upon listening to him, Mr. Yancey was Ford Motor Company was on strike, and he was doing some antiquing of furniture, doing odd jobs to make ends meet. And he happened to be in this lady's house redoing her dining room set. And let me tell you, he did
Wow.
excellent work. I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn like on the spot how to tuft upholstery and do all kind of stuff. It was like hustle time. We laid side, we did everything we had to do, whatever it was, to make it ends meet. So we just did that, and we took pride in doing it well. So that was the thing. When you do something, you put your heart into it, and you
That's
do it
right.
well. And if you can't, then that means it's not your occupation. As Mr.
so
Yancey would say, he'd help young people, but then if they didn't perform well, if they didn't have that something that the audience needed, he just tell them, and I would be so embarrassed, but he told them truthfully. He said, "No, don't come back for another session. You go home and think about it. This is not your occupation."
Woo.
well, I
That's
have a
And
real. I
question.
I
mean,
was like,
At
it
what
hurt my
age?
heart.
At what age? When was the first time that you can remember noticing that Dilla, your son, was special, like that he really, because I'm sure he came home. So what's your earliest memories of him, just like with music? Let's start right there with
Well,
music.
I'll just tell it like it is. When he was a matter of a few months old, he could make perfect pitch harmony. Couldn't talk, right? Just a few months old. Perfect pitch harmony with any melody that was given to him. His dad used to rock him to sleep because he was a night person. He never wanted to sleep at night, and he would do the bass runs and lay him on his lap, rocking him. But he do the bass runs like, because he played upright bass, he'd do the bass runs on his tummy. And while he was laying there, he would gurgle perfect pitch harmony, and like my uncle happened to be there one day. God rest his soul. My uncle Petey was there, and he said, he was sitting there. He's like, "Oh my God!" He said, "Does he always?" He said, "This boy gonna be something else." He never lived long enough to see Dilla accomplish anything or see him to grow into anything other than his special little things like his niche, like spinning records in a park at 2, and things like
Mm.
you know. But
What?
yeah, at 2 years old, Harmony Park, downtown Detroit.
Woo. There's
You
always those uncles
at
that
that
figure it out off
time,
the top.
yeah, at that time he was like, he was 2 years old. I, dress him in this little hat matched with his sunglasses. He likes sunglasses, so I get sunglasses to match his hat. Just the little
Mama
dime
done it.
sunglasses, right? And but he was so proud of it. And then I get a little jacket, bought it for the cool evenings when we be down there later, and it would match his hat. Because I didn't have a house full of kids. I had stepchildren, which were high school age. Mr. Yancey was my senior by 16 years, and so at that rate, we took him to the park because I had a restaurant and I had to run that restaurant. We would have the Milner Grill downtown and the hotel in the Milner Hotel at that time. And so I got to open the restaurant. I got to be there at 6 a.m., turn on the fires and,
Right, get everything started.
and wait on
What
the
what
pie
what
man to deliver and all that kind
what
of
is
stuff.
what is it like taking a young Jay Dilla record shopping? What is
It
that
was
like? Is that
it was
like
delightful. It was delightful because he went every Friday. His dad worked at Ford's, so that meant that he would help me open the daycare, and then he hit on the bus to Ford Motor Company in Highland Park. That was a tractor factory. Yeah. And so he would go there. I do the restaurant, and I'd have to duck under the curtain, because if the people around the corner from the hotels that were was a couple of hotels there, and they would knock on the window to see if I was there so they can get in to get that morning coffee because they see the lights come on, and they'd be knocking on the window, telling Marie, are you in there? And I'm like, I'm ducking because I can't open the door yet. I don't have my help coming yet, and the restaurant open at 7. So I'm like, okay, I got to get the grills on. I got to get orders that's being called in from my people. They had a bar around the corner. They were open like early in the morning, and the help would call and place orders so that they can eat. Now they had a cook, but they would call and order stuff in the restaurant.
But that's good. That's good.
So
Yeah.
yeah?
yeah, and then but that was a regular thing. The guy's name was Joe. Matter of fact, I remember it was so long ago. But yes, it was wonderful because everybody knew who he was. Everybody in the hotel knew who James was, and they sit and they would enjoy the music. And he's not playing kid music. He's on a Fisher Price, but he's not playing kid music. He's playing Motown songs.
Okay.
Wow.
He has
Wow.
45s on his wrist, just like I have on these rape bracelets. His little 45s to be, his arm was so little, he's sticking it
That's
in
crazy.
the 45s and carry that and his records. And then anything extra, he got to go to the record shop and pick a new record every Friday.
Mm.
Wow. That's
Every Friday.
crazy. That's
Because he was
amazing.
a great, great kid. I never had to worry about him. He was just like extremely obedient, except the one week when he was in this, I guess, terrible two phase, and he wanted to touch something on the table that he knew he wasn't supposed to touch. And I didn't get it for the first 2 days. I didn't know that he was testing me, but it was unusual that he would do anything that he knew not to do. And I guess about the third day, I don't know if somebody was there visiting me or whatever, and said, "Oh, he's trying you." And I'm like, I say, "Oh," I said, "Because he's never done anything like that. I could have anything on the table, and tell him don't bother that, And he'd sit there but I'm not paying enough attention because I have a new baby. My daughter was born then, and I'm looking at this new baby and trying to take care of her, and he's sitting there looking me dead in my eye and
Ooh.
reaching in front of me. So he's waiting for me to catch him, but I'm just like not focused enough. So
Hmm.
about that fifth day, I tore that hand up when I saw it going. I'm like,
And from there on, he started
and,
making beats with the
and
hand.
that was the only time. That was the only time that I that I had to scold him. I never had to spank him or anything.
Mm.
You know, now they got tapped on the hand with that. I had a little belt. If somebody told a lie, they told the truth. The only thing they had to do is if they told a lie, that was the one thing. Don't ever lie to me. I don't care what
Mm.
you did. If you shot a gun or you did anything, whatever it is, nothing on God's earth that you can't tell me about, because whatever it is, we got to
Mm.
work this out.
Right.
That's
It
right.
ain't
That's
going
right.
nowhere.
And they
That's
So
right.
knew it.
what was
Yeah.
it like when Dilla heard his first record on the radio and came home? Like, how did you what was the energy like?
Ooh, well, you know what? He wasn't in the house when I first heard one of his songs, and what I heard on saw actually, I was looking at a commercial. I had a daycare running. My staff and I were upstairs. I was preparing a meal, and I had children upstairs and downstairs, whatever, And I was fixing the meal, and I got this little TV in the corner, and I'm hearing a song, and I know this song because I heard it before. And I'm looking, and I'm not listening to radio stations and all the hip hop at that time. My thing has always been classical and, and opera. So, I'm not turned on the hip hop all the time, except when I know that they're gonna do something and I'm, listening for a radio interview or something. And even then he didn't tell me that he was doing anything. He was never about uh the light or
Right.
showcasing anything. He was just like, I just want my work to be good. That was it. He didn't care about the money, never did. It's just that he wanted a good product, And he would take it, even when everybody's raving over it, and say, well, I'm gonna put it back. Got something else to do, because it was something in his head that he felt was missing or could have been better.
Hmm.
And a lot of things, I thought he was ready to jump in the studio. He's like, no, I got some work to do on it. And he was like, he had OCD. So, you can imagine, even floppy disks and stuff back in the day, they were organized, labeled, everything in alphabetical order. And also, if something was bought from overseas, certain artists that he was looking for, they were in separate shelves, alphabetical order. Because I had my sister and my niece were employed by him for about 3 weeks straight, for 8 to 10 hours, working in storage unit, organizing the stuff. And after we had done all this and we were exhausted, we had spent like about 2 weeks, and he came to check it out, because we kept wondering every day, was he gonna come and check it out, or did we just lock up and go? So he wouldn't check. He waited till we told him we were done, and maybe not that day because he wasn't gonna rush. He gonna try to catch something out of order, and he came that following day. We went back again, and we thought he was just gonna be excited about the great job we did. He said, well, I said, everything's in alphabetical order, everything, like you said, and certain artists that you want on certain shelves, they're there, they labeled everything. And he's like, but you gotta do those shelves over again. And I'm talking about,
Whoa.
I said, they in alpha. He said, no, he said, some of those records you got over there, they were in the crates that I didn't want you to touch. Those are from overseas. He said, they can't go over there yet. And he said, and they gotta go in the order that I want them. So that categorized thing we did, the whole shelf had to come down with so many records that were pieces of maybe somebody had never been heard of, but they had on their album done something different that nobody else had done, or were playing instruments that nobody dared bother with. And he wanted to get that sound in his head and see what
Oh.
that difference that made.
It,
It's all about.
it's funny. You said he didn't really care about the light, so to speak, and the light
Mhm.
was one of his biggest records.
And
That's
is
kind
it?
of crazy, right?
Yes, yes. And I just well, I know that he smiles down on the work I do, because I'm really bringing light to his
Yeah.
legacy. For 18 years, it's been a struggle, but it's been a struggle of love, and nothing worth anything comes that easy. You can't,
That's
they
true.
said you can't just grease your feet and axe grease and slide on over the promised land. You got to put some work
That's
on
Work
it.
right.
in. That's
That's
right.
right. That's
So
right. That's
tell us about the foundation. Tell us about
Yes,
the
my
foundation.
baby. Yes, that foundation I started in February of 2006. It was not even a month after he passed. Thank you, Jay Barber, for encouraging me. That's Kareem Riggins' manager, who has always been and still is, which says a lot because to be able to stay with somebody through thick and thin. And he is a native Detroiter as well.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But the reason that I got to know him when I went out to take care of Dilla when he was sick, the last 2 years that he lived. And he came to visit Dilla and came to visit me as well at different times. And uh, we got along great. He kind of understood me because his mom was a daycare provider. And so he knew the kind of person that I most likely was. We got along. We had a lot of interest, and it sort of made him feel close to his mom because he was in California at that time too. But we talked about Detroit, and by him being a Detroiter and me being a Detroiter, being raised in the black bottom of Detroit and everything, and growing up and just through everything there. And I love Detroit. I'm a proud Detroiter. So on those bases, we had a lot to talk about, and he was just a wonderful person. He helped me get it organized. And after Dilla passed, and I had to come back home to my family because I had to leave my daycare business, which I had two builders at that time. I had to leave everything behind, and just like I had a assistant administrator of my daycare. She covered for me because when I first left Detroit on an emergency to see about him, he had called and told me, he said, "Ma, I need you." Because we had been going to Carmelo's Cancer Center for a couple of years to get treatment. They thought it was that a rare blood disease. It wasn't, but he was being monitored. We were getting chemo, not the chemo infusion. That was my thing. Okay, but we were getting the plasmapheresis for him because his levels would drop so low, and they didn't know how he was living. So they was like, okay, we don't understand what's going on, but his platelet count is like not for anybody that's trying to survive. So he was getting that, and he had contracted diabetes during that time. His kidneys failing, everything just like back to back to back. So many hospital stays, and he just was adamant about not being in the hospital. But unfortunately, the night that we took him to emergency, because he began to feel bad, and for him to go to the doctor because he was like some old school. You know how you don't like
we don't go
doctors.
to doctors. Yep. I don't go now.
I don't want that. I'm good. Don't fix nothing that ain't broke. That's
Yep.
how.
That's how I still operate by that right now today.
Exactly. And you know what? In these days, especially after the pandemic, stuff was still in the air. Up in the air with how that treatment is going. It's a lot of things. We have to be wary of.
Yeah.
We don't know who's making
So,
up.
what's the mission of the foundation?
The mission of the foundation is to promote the creativity of youth, to inspire them through music and create an explosion of want for academia, because music does accelerate academia. So that's what we want to do. We want them to want to learn more and to open up their eyes and not be afraid of the gifts that they come. I truly, truly, I always say, but I truly, truly, from my heart of hearts, know from my own self, but believe that every child is born to come here and to give something to the world.
Absolutely.
Everybody is blessed with something that they are bringing to the world to make the world a better place. Because if it wasn't so, we wouldn't be birthing them every day. And Lord only knows that the gifts that a lot of young people bring, especially even younger ages now, are incredible. It's been these youth that just we think about it. We need to think about, we lost 3 generations through the drug and wars epidemics that have happened. Is at least I know for a fact that we have in our race, especially. Our children felt or wasn't given the tools they needed to come up out of its with strength and with clear vision that we can get through this and we still can accomplish things, because the parents had fallen off the track, and the kids were falling between the cracks. They didn't have that inspiration from home, and moms had to work because how the system is set up.
Right.
No men in the home. I was a kid and actually lived through that thing with my mom where they separated. You couldn't be a dad in the house and all that kind of stuff going on, and then they bust in your house at 2 and 3 in the morning looking to see if anybody was in your house.
Yeah.
So,
You didn't get,
You got to get your stomach go.
Exactly. So no,
So
these are truths. Yeah.
the foundation is in Detroit mainly.
The
I saw
foundation
you had
is
some
not just in
chapters.
Detroit. Oh
I
yes,
saw.
I was yes. We have foundation chapters, and we have chapter. We have a chapter in Vegas. We have a new chapter in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, and they've been with us 2 years now. They celebrated, and it's a collective. We have L.A. chapter. We have two chapters in Atlanta. We have oh geez, don't let me forget somebody. Okay, we
I
got
saw
You
Virginia and
got
I saw
VA? You
Texas.
got
I saw
Virginia?
Virginia and I
yeah.
saw
Well,
Texas.
look, no, well, you know what? I need it.
You need a VA?
I need one in VA. You know,
Hmm.
I
hey,
saw Virginia on the list. It said Virginia and Texas on your list.
Man,
that's cause I'm coming.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
okay.
coming.
Well,
Yeah,
you here
yeah.
now. Wait a
Well,
minute,
you
Dilla.
hear
You
that?
already here.
All right. Well, then
You are
you
here
send
now. All you need
send
to
me
tell us.
somebody that
Yes.
wants to, that, and I know you guys, like you already told me before the podcast started, you have the same theory, you have the same inspiration and the same love, and you have that thing, that extra special selflessness to make things happen for young people. And that's what it's about. We got to pay it forward. Somebody's got to pay it forward. And if the
Somebody.
Right.
system
Yes.
is against us to do these things, I'm going to take it. And I went to studies, and they're encouraged. They teach you everything, and then they encourage you not to use education as a format when they're so young, but to use play, role play.
Mm.
If you have a child or children, instead of you have different household backgrounds in that room, you don't know what it's like when they go home, but you
Right.
just know what it's like when they're with
Right
you.
in there. Uh huh.
So you have to be age appropriate, and they're learning something new. I cook 3 hot meals a day for my children because they didn't know, a lot of them, what hot meals were for breakfast. They ate sugar cereals or whatever, and nobody was home to cook that hot lunch,
Mm.
and or that dinner on the table, because parents are just getting off of work.
Mm-hmm.
And for my relationship with my parents, they knew their children were going to get a hot breakfast, and if they wanted seconds, I was overjoyed to give them seconds. It made me feel real good. They wanted to be nourished and properly. I didn't give sugar stuff. Even when we did Easter baskets, I didn't do that. We gave fruit, and we get
Mm-hmm.
kind of cookies I would buy when Common come visit. They're sugarless, healthy things, and and when I did snack time, in the evening, I would give sandwiches or whatever, either a light dinner, and then I would fix deli trays with vegetables and dip.
Mm. And did the kids like that?
But then, yes, let me tell you, because when I wasn't serving them, it wasn't a demand. I did
Okay.
the trays just like I would if I was having a party, and they served themselves at the table.
Okay.
And that was the catalyst, because they were adult enough to choose what they chose. And one child might like vegetables, and everybody's going to follow their peers. And they all learn to love broccoli and the dips and the things like that, stuff that I wasn't even eating, but I knew. I've been to school, I knew what to do.
So,
And I gave them a proper meal.
how do
And
they find the foundation? Where's the
they
foundation
can,
at? How,
let me
online? How
tell
do
you,
we find you?
if you go to James DeWitt Yancey Foundation.org, because I changed it from the J. Dilla Foundation to James DeWitt Yancey Foundation.org because of his induction to the Smithsonian.
Okay.
I wanted him to be known and honored through, after I'm gone, for his surname, and also by using that name, and honors his father,
Yes.
DeWitt Yancey. And it gives esteem to the family, and it's for all youth. I don't want him known as a nickname. A lot of us have the same nickname, So I said,
Right,
Right.
okay.
right.
Well, so my now husband, Tony, has said to me, he said, well, that was at around 2013 and 14, when we were still working on this thing with the Smithsonian. He said, why don't you name him after his surname, then it will honor his dad too. And I thought of myself, wow, I said, that is right. I said, because he's not here to see what his son has done. He's passed on.
And let
But
me tell you, that's a good man to have in your life that wanted to honor, thought to honor your son and your first
exactly,
husband. That's a good theory and
and I
practice
know
and a good person to
it's a
suggest it.
real
So,
man. It's
yes,
a
I
real
commend
man.
him for like
Yes,
being selfishless and saying, "Hey, we should
exactly.
honor his name, his surname." So, yes,
I
that was
know
kudos to
that
him
was.
and you
I
all.
thank him. I'm thankful for him every day, regardless of what world says, or thinks.
Right.
You know, proof is in the pudding. It's
Proof
when
is in
you
the pudding.
stand up to your manhood. And what attracted me to him at first is because of how well he takes care of his own sons
Right. Yep.
and everything. He didn't have to be, nowhere near them. It didn't matter what their mom wanted to do with her life, whatever. He stood there until they were adults, all in college. And matter of fact, the oldest was out of college, by that time.
Well,
And
fatherhood is a lifelong job.
yes, it is. It never ends, just like
Never.
motherhood.
Yep. It
And
never ends.
regardless of what I go through, I had, I can't complain about things that, like my son would say things that he shouldn't say or have attitudes. I'm grateful to God for Dilla, and I mentor some parents, along with their creatives, as I call them, because it bridges that gap that might be there, and it helps the parents to listen to their child more and to understand that they have a great gift and help to nurture that gift. And if they nurture it, there's no ceiling. I mean, these
Right.
young people, they come brilliant. They just need somebody to listen. But it
Mm.
takes people that understand what music does and what it can do and what it can inspire you to do. It can help you to celebrate on many things. I mean, when I think about Miguel Atwood Ferguson, the gentleman that did the suite for my Dukes, that with the 60-piece chamber orchestra, and it
Mm.
was going everywhere. Well, he alone listened to Dilla while he was in college, and that's how he was able to study and to pass his finals and get through college like he did.
Wow.
So many
Mm.
people have been college educated, but the catalyst and the soothing thing that they needed to fight this pressure they were under during this time, it was Dilla's music in the background. It helped so many people. I have teachers that have written to me that teach special education children and children that are mute, but it helps their behavior and it does something to them to listen to Dilla's instrumental music. And they
Wow.
Well,
play
That's
it in the
crazy.
I
classroom.
want to take a moment to say that we are grateful for you for the nurturing not only that you provide to the youth today, but that you provided to make Dilla because fruit falls from the tree.
Yeah,
And to see the tree and the beauty and the energy that you possess even now, I mean, I don't know how I feel after losing the son, but the energy that you possess now and no hatred in your heart for nothing is nothing but love and pushing forward and you constantly trying to give, that is to be applauded. That is something that
thank
we as
you.
a community definitely need. When they say there's queens, I'm looking at a true queen, Mother Nature, my Dukes right there, right now. I
Thank
can
you so
feel your
very much.
energy and hope for nothing but the best for you and the foundation and anything that I can do personally, I'll go out of my way to do. I told you I will connect after the call and exchange
Yeah.
information, but I would be
Please,
honored to try and help and bring this forward in Virginia any way I can. I mean,
thank you
Yeah.
so
anything that I
very
can
Let's
do
much.
make it
because
happen. Let's make it happen.
I watched the documentary.
Yes,
Um I've always been a fan, but then
yes,
to meet you and just like it really is special to me. It's like it's you know what it's like? It's like meeting it's only a few people that I wanted to meet in my life. Muhammad Ali being one
mhm,
of them. And so I
yeah.
would put you right there, right next
Yeah.
Wow.
I think of you on the level of Miss Muhammad Ali, right there. Somebody that
Oh my,
raised a person that really made a difference in hip hop and did it in a stance that it was always positive. There was
yes,
nothing, you can't find a person to say something negative about his music or him as an artist. Like this is,
exactly,
it's just,
exactly.
it's wonderful and I can see it because it resonates right there with you.
Thank you so.
And I watched it when I watched the documentary. I got
Mhm.
chills when you sung a little bit of the light. Can you bless us and just sing a little bit of the light? When
Ooh,
you sung the hook, when you sung that hook, I got chills.
I haven't sang in, oh my
It don't
God.
matter
Just,
when God
just,
give you gifts, He don't
just,
take them back.
just that
God
little
don't take no
part.
gifts back.
I got chills when you sung that part of the light, just the hook part, just a little bit of it. I got chills. I was like, yeah,
No, you know what? You better edit this. Come out really bad.
yeah. They come out bad, edit it.
Oh my goodness. You asking, that's a big bunch. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I put you on the spot.
There are times when you need someone, I will be by your side. There is a light that shines special for you and me.
That's what I'm talking
There
about.
it
There
is.
you go.
There it is.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
You
that's
want to
hip hop.
frog out. Look, I haven't. I've been promising myself I'm going to get my voice tuned. I will soon. I
Oh,
better
you wonderful.
put me
You
on the spot
wonderful.
again.
Thank you for coming on. Any last words that you wanna get out? Any last words?
Yes, I'd like to say, please come and support our event in Virginia.
Where
Everything that
what is it?
we do. Oh my goodness, we're the 29th. Um, let me. I'm going to send you the details, and you can post it up. And
Right.
yes, uh,
March
we're
29th.
yes, March
March
29th.
29th. Okay.
Yes,
We'll get
and
the details out where it's at, what it is. We'll let everybody
yes,
know.
let me tell you, it's a work of love. It's a way to help those pay it forward that are willing, like you guys. So we're on a constant mission. And what a lot of people think is that what I do is not for profit. It's nonprofit, and I use any funds that we get or that chapters make. They don't come to me.
It don't matter.
We encourage chapters to do something in their community for their youth, and just do it in Dilla's name. And that's
Okay.
it goes, and we even help. So my husband Tony, we do everything that we can to pay it forward, and I thank God that He sent him my way, because my life has been. I used to call myself woman of suffrage, because it seemed like every step I take, no matter what I did for good, something will come, especially during times of prayer. When this is Ramadan for me,
Right.
and times of Ramadan, the devil's snare is still working. Not
Absolutely.
at prayer, they still busy. So things happen, and and after 18 years of struggle and fighting and fighting against, how, as you know from the documentary, the state and everything,
Right.
I, I fought and worked with Smithsonian 6 years straight with Timothy Burnside to make this happen, even though they tried to threaten the Smithsonian with letters, well, you got to cease and desist. I said, no, that's my son. He deserves to be there. He did the work, and nobody's going to stop me from honoring my son. And
That's
because
right.
I have an opportunity, I'm going to fight for it. And it was nothing that they could do, nothing that I had done, but they still have tried tactics all through this time, and they still do.
Was
But
You
was
I'm,
know,
speaking
when you
about
have
you
was
know,
speaking about that. What's up with the project with Dress from Black Street? What's up with that project?
from Black Sheep, yeah, that project is
Black
still
Sheep.
it's in its interim. We're still waiting to find out. You
Mm,
know, he has to decide how he's going to do it, but we're behind him 100%. It's
okay.
just like the second. It's just like in that docu film there. These are truths that have been not just now, but have been going on forever. But we just thought it was time to bring some to the light. You hold up a man's entire soul and his career just because you can.
Right.
Things should be better.
well,
Men work hard.
when you call yourself mother suffrage, you're in good company because when you do great things and you've been tasked with greatness, there becomes
Mhm.
great attacks. And
Yes.
great people fight
Yes.
through the attack. So for you to
Yes.
get, not the average, but some people may
Hmm.
have let their son's name go by the wayside. You stayed
Yes.
fast and got him. That's how he got to the Smithsonian because
Yes.
you stayed strong. So through the suffrage, that's just right there now, just an example for the youth right there that you had to fight something because nothing has
Exactly.
ever been given to you or your son or to any of us. People that are trying to do great things are often tasked with great problems. And so they need
Yeah.
solutions, and most of all, they just need to remember, to me, to look within, like to always go
Yes.
inside and have a great foundation. And I see that foundation on you so that whenever, because when I watched the documentary, he didn't even want anybody to know there was anything the matter with him. That's a
No, he
person that
didn't.
gets their strength from within. You know, he didn't
Exactly.
need that. And that comes from the root, the tree, the mom, the dad. You all put that in him and you're continuing to feed the world. And for that, we applaud you.
Yes, thank you so much. I needed that. You guys don't know how you inspired me this morning,
Wow.
with social media, being fed certain things that are
Right.
untruths and everything. But I have to stand on the ground, on the solid rock. And I know what's right and what's wrong. I've raised my children right. And sometimes you don't, well, I thought about it last night. I said, you know what? I said, how dare I think that if one of my children is not following the path that they were taught and doesn't have love in their heart, even for me, and I love them and do for them always. But when they can't give it back and reciprocate it, I can't be upset. There are many mothers that have no communication with some of their offspring. It's not because they've done anything to them, but that child chooses in adulthood to be somebody else or not to visit their mom or not to, you know, just to want to do
Straight from the
everything.
path.
But you know
Yeah.
what? And then there's another talk right now about women that are too soft with their sons and
Yeah.
don't want anybody
Yeah.
to chastise them. That is where I fell because I didn't see that I was doing more. I just didn't want him to suffer all the hardships that Dilla and my daughter suffered growing up. I tried to shield him from some of the pain that I grew up with and some of the
Right.
things that I had to deal with. And you want your children to have better, but you can overdo it. And so
Right.
I
That's
overdid
right.
it. And I had to face I've overdone it. Because if you can't look at me and think about my sacrifices and and show love and you harbor jealousies and things in your heart for some reason, that I can't help that. You know, I just have to step back and let God do his work. I could pray on it, but that's all, you know.
Well, you
Man, we
are
want
a
to thank
shining
you.
light and an
You get
example. You're an example for the world, and anyone who says anything other doesn't know. So you can just disregard their
Yes.
statements because I like to think I've been blessed with discernment and I can discern the beauty and the graciousness and the humbleness in your heart. So forget what anybody else say. You stay the course, you stay the path, and again, anything we can do, we're definitely here because we are true fans of Dilla, and now I'm a fan of Mon Dukes. So I'm as
Mon
much a
Duke.
Mon Duke fan now as I am a Dilla fan. So
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
And I look forward to connecting with you guys.
uh, I'll get your number from Doug afterwards, and then we'll figure
Okay.
out how we could do some things in Virginia.
Yes,
Right.
most definitely. And I'm talking about let's make it happen this year.
Let's
Okay,
make it happen. All
all
right.
Yeah.
right.
Peace.
Dilla's
Peace.
not just celebrated in his birthday, it's year round. And as
Right.
long as God gives me wind, I'm going to be doing what I got to do. That's my purpose.
All
Thank
right.
you. Peace. God bless. Love
God
you.
bless.
Thank you.